let's get right into it, man. How do we break free from the opinion of others, Steve?
Well, I figured we'd start out with a story, and this is a profound moment in my life that I kind of had my eyes opened through what you call those God wink or those God moments, or times when you know God is speaking right to you. And so I was at a conference, and this conference was a political conference. One of my buddies had an extra press pass so I could be at the conference, and he asked me if I wanted to go, and I was like, yeah. And so I hang out at this conference all weekend long, and there's a bunch of speakers that come in, and by the end of the conference, I get invited to this party that was it was happening in PV, and it was where all the speakers and all the people from the event were all hanging out, and so I'm like, all right, it's just don't really know anybody there other than my buddy, and I was like, I'll go. So I throw in
a little mix and mingle, if you will, for influencers.
For influencers, speakers, just like I mean, you name it. Every political talking head was at that thing, and so I show up. Throw my sport coat on, show up, and like you're just mingling. And then there was this lady there named Trevion, and she was one of the speakers from the event, and she had this like, you couldn't miss her. She had this bedazzled, like when I say bedazzled, she was wearing this pantsuit that had like, sparkles and everything all over. And I just kind of grabbed, when you're at those parties, you just gravitate around and just talk to people, and especially when you don't know anybody, it's just you just be social, you ask questions, you be interested in other people, and you just try to enjoy it. And so I start talking with her, and she says a lot about what she does and used to do, and she asked me what I do, and I said, well, I'm in sports ministry. I shared Jesus with athletes. I said, but I appreciate what you do, because you're able to speak up for those that can't speak for themselves, and that you're able to speak and fight for things, for other people. And I said, it's tougher for me to do that in the world that I'm in, because I have to watch what I talk about, because I have an audience in which people come from many diverse backgrounds.
Right.
And so we keep talking, and she, being like the kind of cool, popular person, everybody else wants to talk to her. So I have to kind of just see my way out. I'm like, hey, Trevion, great talking to you. And I start walking away, and she taps me on the shoulder, and she says, Steve, can I tell you one last thing? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, you're not quite there yet. And that like shot me right in the chest. Like, it's just like not what you're expecting to hear. And she said, you will know you're there when you can be unapologetically you, and people will accept you for who you are. And then so I just like walked away, and like I just couldn't quit thinking about what she said the rest of the night. And then later on, there was, I go back to that conference the next day. There's another speaker that gets up by the name of Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson gets up, and he says, stop playing a role. Stop pretending to be someone else, and be yourself without shame. The truer something is, the more beautiful it is. And so like that point in my journey, like I was struggling really to be fully me.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I just to be fully me, and speaking in front of a room, in front of people, like just who I am, and just bringing my personality and letting it speak out, and even around people, like where you almost like sometimes you hide yourself because you're afraid of the judgment and the opinions of other people, or like you won't speak out in truth because you're afraid of like what people may say, or you don't.
You're trying to be agreeable.
Yeah.
Versus like saying the truth. Because if you say the truth, even though you might be right, it might rub somebody the wrong way. So you're just being agreeable.
Yeah, and
which isn't a bad quality. We don't need to be combative.
100%, but like when I heard that twice in a matter of 24 hours, it was like, God's way of telling me that like there is a freedom in being truly yourself, unapologetically, without regret, and there is freedom in being the true you. And I just feel like as humans, in the ways of the world, in the patterns of the world, we can lose our true selves because we fall victim to conformity, and we fall victim to the things in which the world brings upon you, and like that's where Jesus frees you. He redeems you of these false imprisonments, these lies in which we tell ourselves, these lies in which the world tells ourselves.